This great debate about immigration policy is ignoring one thing, and that is, when did we see this flood of immigrants come north across the border? It started with NAFTA. Once NAFTA was passed, wages collapsed in Mexico, and people desperate to make a living flooded north of the border, only to end up in areas where corporations exploited their cheap labor. Not many people talk about that, but I'm willing to talk about it, and here's why. One of my first acts in office will be to cancel NAFTA and our relationship with the WTO and go back to bilateral trade conditioned on workers' rights, human rights, and environmental quality principles. Let me tell you how that impacts immigration. First of all, once Mexico has to pay its workers a decent wage, there'll be less of an incentive to come across the border. Secondly, once we enforce labor laws with the corporations that are north of the border and make sure they pay a decent wage and abide by wage and hour laws, abide by workplace safety laws, there's going to be less of an incentive for them to game the system and pay slave labor wages to these migrant workers. So what's happened is that migrant workers have just been exploited. It's really been a stain on American history that we've been able to support a system of slave labor while some profit. And those workers are not profiting because they're barely getting by on meager wages while the corporations are doing very well. We need to enforce labor law. We need to enforce workplace safety law. And what about the people who have been here? Do we send millions of people back across the border, make them pay heavy fines when they've been good, productive people in our society? I don't think so. I think people have to have a path to legalization. And I think their children have to have access to services here. I think people who are paying taxes and making a contribution should be regarded as such. And I also think that we need to have some kind of a sane and sensible policy that regulates the flow of people across our border. Of course we have to have that. But that's something that we need to work with Mexico on. And so far we haven't really insisted that Mexico do its part. But as president, I intend to do that. We need a humane immigration policy, not that treats people as illegal human beings. There aren't any illegal human beings. We need to help bring people into compliance with the law. We need to have safe and immigration policies which, when people want to come in, they have to apply like everyone else. But we also need to make sure that the people who have been here and been productive members aren't penalized because our government and Mexico's government just looked the other way while corporations were making huge profits at the expense of low-paid workers. I think that America's up to resolving our immigration problems. After all, we are a nation of immigrants. We're a nation that was formed from people coming from all over the globe looking for opportunities here. And part of America's genius and magic is that we've always been that kind of a nation. Let us never forget the words at the base of the Statue of Liberty, written by Emma Lazarus. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed. To me, I lift my lamp beside the golden door. We must ever lift the lamp of liberty beside the golden door of opportunity in this country. And let our immigration policies be humane and sane and sensible to enable people to keep participating in this society. Let's move forward and unite this country as one people once again. Let's move forward and end these rancorous debates about immigration. And let's create a full employment economy so that all Americans have an opportunity for a decent, good-paying job with solid benefits, with a national health care plan where everyone is entitled to health care in a not-for-profit health care system. When we start addressing those matters, the immigration problems of today begin to melt away. But while they are in front of us, I stand before you to tell you that I'll be the president who helps to unite this country on a path towards economic justice by changing the direction of our immigration policies and once and for all ending NAFTA so that the basis that caused so many people to flee north of the border looking for opportunities, that we remove that as a challenge. So I understand your concerns. I'm ready to be your leader, and I thank you for your support.